It's a normal school day. 16-year-old Kyle Plush is sitting in his car after class and wants to get his sneakers out of the trunk. Instead of getting out and opening the trunk, he leans over the back seat to reach for the shoes. Within a second, something unimaginable happens. The back seat folds down, and Kyle is hanging upside down in his trunk. The backrest is pressing down on his chest, and he cannot free himself. In the next few minutes, a desperate struggle between life and death begins. Kyle manages to call for help, but will it arrive in time?
I don't imagine I would.
Kyle Plush was born on September 30th, 2001, and grew up with his sister Ellie, 3 years his junior, with his parents Jill and Ron in Cincinnati, the third largest city in Ohio. From an early age, his parents noticed that Kyle was very intelligent and enjoyed learning. He consistently achieved excellent grades in school over the next few years and planned to graduate from Seven High School and then go on to college. He was particularly enthusiastic about subjects such as math, history, Latin, and anything related to technology. To share his knowledge, he tutored elementary school children. In his free time, Kyle enjoys outdoor activities such as kayaking, scouting, swimming club, and tennis. He also enjoys sharing activities with his father, especially cycling. His family situation is stable, and Kyle has a close relationship with all his relatives. He spends a lot of time with his grandfather, and the two go camping or work together in the garden. In short, Kyle is a happy boy who has big plans for his future and is looking forward to making his dreams come true. April 10th, 2018 also begins like any other Tuesday for Kyle. After getting ready for school in the morning, he grabs his backpack, says goodbye to his parents, and gets into his Honda Odyssey to drive to school. As he gets in, he throws his sneakers into the trunk. He needs them later, as he has a tennis match after school that day. The school day passes uneventfully, and at 3 p.m., after classes end, Kyle leaves school to go to his car. The tennis match is scheduled for 4 p.m. on the sports field next to the school. At 3:05 p.m., surveillance footage shows Kyle getting into his car. It remains unclear why he gets into his car, as he has his sneakers in the trunk and does not need to get into the car to get them. It is suspected that he may have wanted to put his backpack in the car or use the time between class and the game to relax in the car. Kyle sits in the driver's seat and puts his backpack on the passenger seat. A few minutes later, he wants to get his shoes from the trunk. His Honda has 2 back seats, behind which is the large trunk. Instead of getting out and opening the trunk to get his shoes, Kyle climbs over both back seats to the rear and reaches over the backrest to get his shoes. At that moment, the unimaginable happens. As he leans over the backrest, the seat folds back, and Kyle falls head first into his trunk. His head is now at the bottom of the trunk, while his legs are resting on the folded down backrest. From this position, it is impossible for Kyle to free himself. In addition, the seat backrest presses against his chest, making it difficult for him to breathe. No matter how much he moves, he is unable to change position without outside help. Just 7 minutes later, the surveillance camera shows 2 people walking to their car, which is parked 2 spaces away from Kyle's vehicle. They walk past his car, get into their vehicle, and drive away. When they are later located, they claim not to have noticed anything unusual or heard anything. Another person who walks past Kyle's car shortly afterwards later makes similar statements. Kyle was probably already calling for help at this point. The passersby may not have heard him because of the thick padding in the trunk and the fact that he was having difficulty breathing. Or Kyle was still trying to free himself at that point and therefore had not yet attempted to draw attention to himself. At 3:15 p.m., Kyle seems to have a saving idea. His cell phone is in his backpack on the passenger seat. By shouting loudly, he manages to activate Siri and make an emergency call at 3:16 p.m. The big problem is that Kyle can't hear what the employee is saying or asking. That's why he often talks to her at the same time during the call and interrupts her several times. And the employee, in turn, has difficulty understanding Kyle due to the muffled connection.
Hello, Cincinnati 911. That is the address of your emergency. Cincinnati 911.
I'm stuck in my van outside the 7 Hills Hotel parking lot.
The Seven Hills what parking lot?
Help. I need help.
Where are you? Hello?
I'm gonna die here.
Where are you?
After 2 minutes and 56 seconds, the call ends. The employee plays the recording for two colleagues. One of them understands Kyle and knows the parking lot. A police patrol is dispatched with the information that a person is trapped in a van. Officer Brazili and Officer Osborne arrive at the parking lot at 3:26 p.m., 10 minutes after Kyle's call. The surveillance camera records the patrol car driving through this parking lot and the one across the street. They also drive right past Kyle's car. However, no one gets out, so they cannot hear any cries for help. In the meantime, the emergency call center has found Kyle's cell phone number and forwarded it to the patrol officers on site. They try to call Kyle, but he cannot answer calls via Siri. At 3:35 p.m., another emergency call comes in from Kyle. At this point, the police patrol is still on site in the parking lot. In his second call, he says,
I probably don't have much time left to tell my mom that I love her if I die. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. I'm trapped inside my gold Honda Odyssey van in the Southwood parking lot of 7 Hills Beth. Send officers immediately. I'm almost dead.
If this information had been passed on to the patrol on site, Kyle could probably have been located without any problems. Unfortunately, the employee who takes the call does not pass on the information because she thinks it is a prank. At 3:39 p.m., the patrol leaves because they cannot find anything unusual. At 6 p.m., his mother begins to worry because the otherwise very reliable 16-year-old still has not been in touch. She can see the location of his cell phone, and when she sees that he is still on the school grounds, she is initially reassured and feels confirmed in her belief that he may have simply lost track of time. An hour later, Kyle's father and sister arrive home. They all want to have dinner together, but there is still no sign of Kyle. The three of them slowly begin to worry when shortly afterwards, the phone rings. One of Kyle's classmates asks about him, as he didn't show up for tennis and hasn't responded to his messages. After this call, Kyle's parents panic. His cell phone location is still showing as the school. Ron initially thinks that his son may have been kidnapped and that his cell phone fell out of his pocket. He leaves for the school at 8:30 p.m. to check. Jill and Ellie stay at home in case Kyle returns in the meantime. Shortly before 9 p.m., Ron arrives at the school parking lot and finds his son's van. He opens the unlocked door and discovers Kyle dead in the trunk. He had suffocated several hours earlier. Ron calls 911, and a short time later, the emergency services arrive. But there is nothing they can do for Kyle. They can only confirm his death. Ron then has to break the terrible news to his wife and daughter that Kyle will not be coming home. On April 17th, 7 days after his death, Kyle is buried. Not only his family, but also a large number of local residents attend. They are all shocked by the unnecessary death of the 16-year-old. Two days after Kyle's death, his parents learn about their son's emergency call. They are shocked that the second call was not followed up and that the information was not passed on. The employee who did not pass on the information is suspended. A few days later, Police Chief Elliot Isaac expresses his condolences to the press and says that he cannot give any details, but that something must have gone wrong. This young man called us for help, but we didn't help him, and we need to find out how and why that happened. Kyle's family hires a lawyer and sues the city of Cincinnati. They are certain that Kyle could have been saved if the patrol had searched the parking lot properly, or if the information from Kyle's second emergency call had been forwarded to them. They are awarded $6 million. They invest part of the money in improving the 911 call center and helping to recruit new, capable employees. They put the rest of the money into the Kyle Plush Answer the Call Foundation, which they established after Kyle's death. With this foundation, they want to improve the emergency call system in large cities. We cannot change what happened to Kyle, but we can change the future and ensure that something like this never happens again. We want to ensure that when you dial 911, help arrives immediately, and the right kind of help, because every second and every minute counts. Thanks to their efforts, the underfunded emergency call center has been removed from police control and is now under civilian management, which in turn reports directly to the city director. Car manufacturer Honda has also commented on the accidents and the accusation that Kyle died as a result of a manufacturing defect in their car. Our hearts go out to the victim's family during this difficult time. Honda does not have detailed information to determine what happened in this situation. We can confirm that there have been no recalls involving the seats on the 2004 Honda Odyssey. Ron says about his son, "The one thing that set Kyle apart was that he was very interested in Latin at school. Carpe diem, seize the day. Kyle didn't have the word no in his vocabulary. He seized every opportunity, took chances, never said no. He was a great kid." Thanks to Kyle, Carpe diem remains the family motto to this day. They still haven't been able to come to terms with his death. Jill has never been able to bring herself to listen to the recordings of Kyle's emergency calls. She couldn't bear to hear the fear and helplessness in his voice. At the time, Kyle thought that his emergency call would save him. If he had called his mother instead, he might have been saved because she knew where he was and would not have thought his call was a prank. But Kyle may have tried that and it didn't work via Siri. We will probably never know exactly what happened in the minutes before his death. In February 2018, 2 months before his death, Kyle participated in a programming competition with his friends. Kyle presented a program for the Apple Watch that allows users to send a precise GPS signal in an emergency situation, which is then forwarded to the emergency call center. The program would also send the vital signs of the person in need of rescue to the emergency services so that they could better assess the situation. At the time, Kyle's idea was still an immature concept, but if it had already been developed, his own idea might have saved his life. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Kyle Plush's death is not a classic true crime case, but it's still important to me to share his story and ensure that Kyle is not forgotten. I don't even want to imagine the fears and thoughts Kyle must have had in the minutes before his death. You really wouldn't wish this kind of death on anyone, especially since several people walked or drove past his car and still no one was able to save him. I hope that Kyle's family has been able to come to terms with their tragic loss, and I have the utmost respect for the fact that they have used the money they were awarded for a good cause to protect other people from a similar fate in the future. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to let me know in the comments, and if not, that's okay too. Either way, you've heard Kyle Plush's story, and he will not be forgotten. If you want to support the channel, please leave a like, comment, and/or subscribe. Feel free to activate the bell. Thank you in advance, and thank you for watching. I wish you a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you watch the video, and hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, bye everyone.